I'm just fishing now. Oh, wait a second. Hi everyone, welcome back. And I'm just fishing around this lake or pond. Did I spot any fish? I hear bubbles. I think there's one coming. Or maybe it might be another thing. Hey, can you whoa! Okay. Well, okay, I'm trying to take down this portal here. I'm gonna take down this portal. Reason I'm trying to get that thing out. Because you're my doggies. That's odd. No, it's weird. Oh, okay. Now I'll take it down. This will take a moment, everyone. Does anyone know it? I hear my dogs. Or is that a dog? Dog bark. Okay. No, I'm gonna ride my horsey. I'm gonna go ride my horsey to find a home what I can live in. To find a home where I can live in. Where's all these trees in the way? Oh, that's the sad music of my life. Ooh, pumpkin. Oh, wow, there's so many llamas. Oh, look, there's some baby llamas. Hey, didn't I remind last time of that episode I call them the Spitty Gang? Spitty Gangs. Yes, there are so many. That could have hurt my foot. Ouch! There's so many llamas and sheep. This is so hopeless. Oh, that's the sad music of my life. Ooh, pumpkin. Oh, wow, there's so many llamas. Oh, look, there's some baby llamas. Hey, Spitty Gangs. Yes, you're my doggies. That's odd. No, it's weird. Oh, okay. Now I'll take it down. This will take a moment, everyone. Does anyone know it? I hear my dogs. I'm just fishing now. Oh, wait a second. Hi everyone, welcome back. And I'm just fishing around this lake or pond. Did I spot any fish? I hear bubbles. I think there's one coming.